I have declared war against my brain in order to save my mind. The battle wounds don't seem to bother me so long as I know they will heal with time. And the scars remind me to appreciate the days I don't have to.
So anyway, the thing, Eric, about you and I is that we are the same age. Okay, we both born in 1956, and so I went over to Hollywood at a very young age. I was over there at about 19, and so I watched your incredible success early on in your life, and I watched it with. Sometimes if I don't think somebody's quite, I can be a little bit jealous. Why him, not me? But I really got it with you right away. And so I was kind of around watching your early success. And there have been times, are you still working out, by the way?
Working out?
Working out at the gym?
I go to the gym every day I'm home.
Yeah, okay. Because I used to see you and I was too shy to approach you, but you used to work out at a gym on La Brea between Hollywood Boulevard and Sunset.
I worked out there for 30 years.
Okay. Yeah. And I used to work out at
Our
LA.
old stomping ground. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we used to live Jim and I used to live behind Grauman's Chinese Theater back 50 years ago. And, but...
Isn't that weird that we can say that 50 years ago?
Wait, listen to this.
So weird.
Listen to this, Eric. You and I and Jim, from the time that talkies, when you talk about movies, talkies, from the time that started until the time that I got into the business.
It was only 50 years.
And now I've been in the business longer than the time.
That's funny, dude, and that's true.
It
So
is.
effed up. Oh, I hate that. God.
All right, listen, man. You're never.
I haven't ever felt this old till today. Thanks.
Right? Yeah. You're welcome. I know you were born in the South, and you grew up in the South. And am I wrong? Your parents they had some sort of theater company, something.
Here's the real story, but I was raised to tell another story because I was raised to not present myself as the poor white trash we were. But my parents were in the Air Force, and so I was born in Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi, Mississippi. But I was guided by my father when I was asked this out in the real world to say that my mother was on her way to New Orleans from Atlanta, went into labor, and they brought the plane down at Keesler Air Force Base. So that's why it's on my birth certificate. Don't ever tell people that your parents are in the Air Force. Why, Dad? Because it's not cool. Why isn't it cool, Dad? Because it's poor. Okay, got it. So I just accepted that, just how it was. So for years I told the press that lie, but yeah.
Did they have any kind of theater? Am I wrong?
Oh yeah, but that came later. We're talking about my birth. No, they didn't have it yet. They didn't have it until I was, I guess Dad started it formally in '63, but it really started in '61. But to make money and things off it started, I guess, around 1963. And then he got a local TV series slot on Saturday mornings from 10 to 10:30 with a show called Bum Bum and His Buddies, and Bum was a clown who would introduce the show, and Bum Bum was a clown with a derby and a tux that was too big and big feet and all that, and a smiley face, and it would introduce a different drama and or comedy, half-hour show every week, and Bum Bum was my mom.
So was that an introduction for you to theater?
Oh yeah, that. Well,
okay.
I had already done theater, but that was the introduction to being on camera.
Okay.
And that show only ran a season, But we did shows every week for a season. I think at the time it was 22 shows.
So you were doing theater at what age? When did you start doing theater?
I did my first play at 4 years old.
Okay, wow.
I played a mute clown in a Christmas play.
Okay.
I was in a toy box,
Okay.
But by the time I'm 7 or 8, I'm playing John Henry West, a member of the wedding. I'm playing Charlie in Your Good Man, Charlie Brown. I played Snoopy in one production. I'm doing all kinds of stuff. I'm playing the oldest young kid in JB by McLeish. I'm doing all kinds of real theater.
Wow.
Having a really good time.
Well.
What?
Yeah.
You want me to stop playing with it?
Oh, sorry. Let me get yours is right over there. I'll just grab it for you.
No, I don't want water.
No, she wants me to stop playing with the bottle. She hates when I fidget, and I do.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, she tries saying, "Hold still." Okay, sorry.
If I'm not mistaken, your parents split up when you were 15 or so. Is that correct?
Yeah, it started falling apart when I was 13, but they were finally separated forever when I was 15.
Your sisters went off with your mother. You stayed with your father.
Yeah, they were 3 and 5, and I was a teenager.
Yeah, and what amazes me, Eric, is that when you graduated from high school, correct? You would have graduated the same year I did, 1974, correct?
Yep.
All right. So from that point on, you went to Europe. You spent a little time in Europe, kind of checking out the theater scene there, and you came back to New York City. And if I'm not mistaken, the first place you stayed in New York City was the YMCA. Is that correct?
On the Upper West Side. Yep.
Okay, so if for people who aren't as old as I am, the YMCA is you live on the streets, and then there's the YMCA, but it's clean. It's like it sounds like you went there with no money and no connections. You don't stay at the Y. You've got friends that have got places there. You just went to New York and stayed at the Y? That's correct?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, said the YMCA. Got in the American Academy of Dramatic Arts with a local audition in Atlanta. Somebody was there from the American Academy. I auditioned. I got in. Okay, wow! I got in a New York school. Oh my God! So, but we didn't know anybody. We didn't know anything. Right. I speak of my father. We didn't know anything. So it was like, okay, we bought me a plane ticket. Like, good luck.
Wow!
There I went.
Wow!
And it was really exciting. I was too stupid and happy to be scared of any of it. I was going. I was just going.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
From that moment, like 2.5 years later or 3 years later, King of the Gypsies was out. So that ascension.
Yeah, it was about 1,000 days. You're right.
It is unbelievable. It's just shocking. But here's what I want to do. If I can, if you indulge me, is I want to talk about your movies, but I kind of want to start and work my way back a little bit. Okay,
whatever you want to do, it's your show, dude.
Thank you.
Here we go.
Well, it's your show today too, but okay. So I want to first of all, I want to talk to you about Star 80. Okay, and I've heard you quoted as saying that you were Bob Fosse. Had you hanging out with him for a month or 6 weeks, a month or 2 months, or
all the pre-production,
you were hanging out with him, just so you could suck it up, just so you could like feel like what was going on. It
was not casual. He was force feeding me what he demanded I understand.
Okay.
And it was time and place and attitude and stuff and habits, and it was all about time and place. And also that movie, what people don't realize, that movie is so cool for many reasons, but everything in that movie is shot where everything happened in reality.
Really?
Where he killed her.
Is that right?
The mansion, everything is where that happened.
That was shot at the Playboy Mansion?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
and so
okay.
the only hindrance that may have been, and we're all worried about, was because we got the Playboy logo in the movie and we got to use it in the mansion, Hef had to approve everything. And here's where Fosse, here's another part of his genius. He made Hef happy.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hard story to make anybody happy over being a part of.
No,
Yeah.
And he did that, dude. He was a genius, dude. He was a social genius. He was an artistic genius. He understood the human condition really well. And he knew how to zip. And he was just cool, man. He was a genius. It's an overused and abused word, so it means nothing anymore. But he was one of those guys that when you meet them, you know two things. That you're not one of them, and that you don't meet them. They're so unusual. Oh, my God, it's one of those guys. He was one of those guys.
Well, I, have seen the movie a number of times, and there's no good guys in that in that movie. There are no heroes in that movie, but I didn't feel that sorry for Dorothy Stratton. I felt sorry for you. I felt sorry for you. I've seen that movie a number of times, Eric, and your portrayal of that guy, and Bob Fosse had to have let you and written it in a way that let you humanize that character, because everybody was shitting all over that guy when it happened. And yeah, of course, he killed her and he killed himself.
What he did was unforgivable, dude. And even the way that he did it was doubly unforgivable. He was not cool, man. He was effed up to the bone.
Mm-hmm.
The way he did it, explain to me.
The whole, the buggering board and
Yes.
blowing her brains out. The whole, all the steps to the demise was just sick, power-riddled, effed up behavior. And he was a wreck. He was an irretrievable wreck that he would go that far that day.
Do you realize that when you play that character, at least my response is like, I don't see a piece of shit. I don't see a horrible person. I don't see a nasty hustler. I see a human being that
I'm only laughing because, well, of course, we're actors. We have to do that. And when I played him, I understood him. I was there for him. I understood. We got to do this, Paul.
right.
And
Yeah.
So because you can't, first of all, bad guys never believe they're bad guys.
Of course.
No, huh?
Paul did
They all have
nothing
a
wrong.
case to make for themselves.
That's right. Paul did what he had to do. Unfortunately, I mean that's that inside out, effed up brain, and poor Paul went too far, so he had to take his own life because he'd gone too far, and and where I learned to live with Paul in a way that was comfortable was through Fosse. I was educated in that Paul Snider is not unusual. He's a dime a dozen, and we're surrounded by them. We're surrounded by Paul Sniders all day, every day. And Fosse would go so far as to say, see that guy? Paul Snider. See that guy? Paul Snider. See that guy over there? Paul Snider. And so I'd be like, you know what? He's right. And wow, because I thought, we're making a movie about a relationship murder. Okay. And but I didn't realize we're making a movie about the human condition when show business and sex and success or failure is involved. And Fosse was telling a great story, which is why it was so hard on Hollywood, that movie, and it's why it's not a popular Hollywood movie, except in retrospect.
Well, so Paul Snider meets her at a Dairy Queen. She's 18 and falls for her, and they have a relationship. he's the driving force behind getting the pictures taken. He's the driving force behind getting her mother's consent, which in the movies they have the mother saying, "I never gave consent." He's the driving force behind all of that. They kind of set up the little sister a little bit too in that movie, but he's the driving force in getting her to take the pictures. He's the driving force in getting the pictures sent to Playboy magazine, correct?
Yep.
And,
yep.
And you know, I'm sure. And once they got back to him and her, I'm sure it was just so exciting for this guy, and just incredibly exciting. So, let me ask you a question: when your character is talking, you're in the Playboy Mansion, and you meet Hef for the first time, there's a quote you come up with to him, and you have a quote. It's not, I don't know, like 30 seconds or something. Jim, where did you think that quote might have came from?
I thought it might have come from a series of essays Hefner wrote in the 60s called The Playboy Philosophy.
Anyway, wherever it came from, I found it rather benign. I didn't think it was, I didn't think it was, I thought if you had approached me, Eric, and came up to me and quoted some lines from some movie or anybody or anything that I'd said before, I would have kind of thought like, oh, that's sweet. The guys spent the time to, and that was a pretty long quote. And that was taken from Hefner in the movie I'm talking about, of course, as like, yeah, what a little fucking asshole. And as he walks away, and then you say, I don't think he liked that. I don't think he liked that. And to me, that seemed like kind of a nice gesture. That seemed like kind of a nice thing to do. Is that based on fact? Do you know if that is based on?
Well, I think that was basically a summary of the effect Paul had on Hef. And it was done in that scene to show the relationship that just happened. And because Hef was kind of put out by Paul, and that he knew Paul was foolish, and he knew Paul was basically a fan, nothing else, and you know, he controlled what Hef needed to control, which was the girl, and because Playboy has to control those girls in order to make a success of the magazine, while they're in it, and so they have to be the boss.
Yeah.
So when you have that kind of thing, it's a little off-putting.
Okay, so, it's depicted in the movie very much that when Dorothy wasn't around, they didn't want Paul around.
Right.
Dorothy wasn't around, they didn't want Paul around.
That was very true, by the way.
Okay,
because I knew all kinds of employees, and I knew all the playmates, and they all said the same. No, he was not welcome. He was not cool. He was a creep. But you have to also understand that's after the event of the murder-suicide.
Yes.
So they're all have that line.
Yes.
I don't know they all had that line before that. I don't know because I didn't hang out with them then. So I don't know.
Yes.
But maybe not.
Right.
Did you get to talk to many people who knew Paul?
Dude, everybody who spent 10 minutes with him, I spent 10 minutes with. And
Cool.
yeah. And Paul was not, the hard part about playing Paul is not playing a caricature, because he was a bit of a caricature in his own right. So you have to be careful as the actor to not look like you're playing a caricature because of the guy you're playing does that. So you have to be careful, and you have to do it delicately. But I had a great leader. I had Bob Fosse, man, one of the two greatest directors of the 20th century, he and Hal Ashby. And those guys can do no wrong by me. And so, and I'm not a genius. Fosse led me around by the nose. And it's a genius movie, and it's the best docudrama ever made. I say that probably every day. It is the best docudrama ever made. Yeah. And because it's so, you get the flavor, you understand. You walk out of there knowing that journey and knowing, a couple of sides of that journey. His side, her side, Hef's side, Sis Rundle's side. You learn.
Well,
And it's
listen.
heartbreakingly educational.
So Dorothy Stratton's Playboy model, she's now kind of a big hit at Playboy. She starts doing a few roles here and there. And then Peter Bogdanovich enters the picture, okay? Peter Bogdanovich, who was fucking 40 at the time, when she was 19 or 20, okay? He's the director. Closed set. Somehow Paul was not, allowed to go onto that set. And who did Peter? Was it Sybil Shepherd, Jim, that you said that he had an affair with?
That's true.
Yeah, well, he left his wife, Polly Platt, for her when they were making Last Picture Show.
Last Picture Show, yeah. Well, I got a great Bogdanovich story for you. That's my story.
Okay.
Belongs to me. Fosse was a methamphetamine addict, so he was always early and always in a hurry.
It's showtime, folks.
Yeah, right. He was always early and always in a hurry. And one morning, we're staying at the Comstock Hotel. We're doing research. We're like meeting people, going to locations, going to the police station, reading police reports, doing all kinds of stuff, just stuff. And going to a lot of strip clubs. And because he was raised in strip clubs. This is also another.
Sometimes research can be difficult.
Fascinating story. You know what? It is not fun. I got to tell you, strip clubs in the daytime are a drag, dude.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, where was I?
You were talking about Bogdanovich.
So one morning, I'm in the shower and Fosse's banging on my door at the Comstock Hotel. Let's go. We got things to do. I'm in the shower. I let him in. He sits on my bed. I'll be out in a minute. I go back in the bathroom. The phone rings. I say, answer my phone. He said, I'm not answering your phone. God dog it. So I go out there. I answer hello. It's Bogdanovich. Peter. So I sit on the bed in my towel next to Fosse. Fosse's got his ear on the phone. I got my ear on the phone. We're both listening to Bogdanovich. And Bogdanovich proceeds to bullshit me for about 20 minutes about the movie, about the story, so what are they paying you? I said, I can't discuss that with you. Well, whatever they are paying you, I'll pay whatever that is when you don't do the movie, because and I will consider you for Paul in my version of the story. And he was very, very pompous, very, very positive, and very, very condescending, and very, very secure in the right that nobody else could do it, and he was going to, and Bob Fosse had to get over it. And Fosse is listening this whole time, and we both have our ears to the phone, and it was one. And then he and I go to the police station, and we look at the pictures of the slaughter. But that's my Bogdanovich story.
I just feel that
poor Peter.
I just feel that that's all I ever heard about Paul. Scumbag, fucking pornographer, fucking low life, all this fucking. I mean, everything landed on him. Nothing landed on Bogdanovich, who was 40 and was fucking somebody else's wife, who was 20 at the time. And so, anyway, I'm not. Bogdanovich died a couple of years ago, so I'm not whatever. And then he married. Her sister,
her baby sister.
So he had been 50 when she was 20 or something.
Right.
These days that guy would have been crucified for that kind of behavior, right?
Well, he deservedly so.
Yeah.
Deservedly so, because it's weird behavior.
As long as I can get that
in anybody's book, it's weird behavior.
Yeah.
He had he was so affected in a way that's irretrievable over her demise.
I'm sure that he wanted to tell his side of the story, because his side of the story, from everything that I've read about it, he doesn't come across that well. I mean, like I said, she didn't need to be there for 3 months for 2 or 3 shots or half a dozen shots.
You're right. But I live by the creed that what's between two people is between those two people. You can never really know that you can never know. You can never know.
No, I'm just saying 40 and 20. Okay, I'll lay off of Peter Bogdanovich. and I'll.
I was a fan of the guy because of the Last Picture Show. I was a huge fan. But I fell out of fandom very quickly after that phone call because he was so kind of pompously pathetic.
Good. Well, I'm glad to hear that. That came out in '83, so you shot it in '82. Let me talk to you about you have a reputation, and deservedly so, of being are very good looking. You're a very good looking kid, but something dangerous about you. Everybody's always talking about this sort of danger that you, and maybe that's why I didn't approach you when I was a kid at the gym. I was like, I don't know about this guy. You might snap at me or something. But I wanted it. One of the performances that, if people aren't familiar with, you are so fucking wonderful. I mean, you could have been the rom-com king of all time. Raggedy Man.
Oh, thanks.
Raggedy Man, you're just like sweet. You're nice. You're always smiling. You're good to the kids. You're good to her. You're a sailor. There's nothing dangerous about that. There's nothing dangerous about that character. And the only time you show any anger is when the girls are being threatened by the guys in the bar or whatever. But you come across as kind of heroic in a way that I don't think people know Eric Roberts that way. Can you talk about, do people talk to you about that movie very much? Because it was starring Sissy Spacek. And
what's so sad about that movie is that was her first movie after her Oscar for Coal Miner's Daughter, and it was directed by Jack Fisk, her husband.
Yeah.
Her husband, yeah.
So what a director, guys. What a leader. What a cool guy to work for. I got to tell you. I was so sad that he didn't become a huge star, because I saw the Raggedy Man that he directed and he edited, and it was magnificent. And then they took it away from him, and from my exit on, it's a different movie, and they made it into kind of a neo horror film.
Yes.
From my exit on.
Yes,
but from the top of the movie up to my exit, it's mostly Jack. It's probably 85% Jack, but then from my exit on, it's only 15% Jack, and it was unfortunate because it was a delicate, glorious, good movie. It ended up being okay.
Well, it ended up being a good movie until the end.
Until the end,
and I think that
Jack's a great filmmaker, and I think nothing less. Jack is a great filmmaker. He got undermined. He got effed with.
Well, that happens, and
I really thought his career was going to take off after that movie as a director.
Well, also, you'd have to be a 2-year-old not to know that Sam Shepard was in the background as the Raggedy Man. I mean, that was kind of obvious, that Sam Shepard, but. I love that movie. Loved it. And your performance is not like, there's nothing scary about, there was nothing scary about, nothing like, oh, he might, snap at any moment. Oh, he's got that smile. Is he really smiling, or is he thinking he wants to kill me at the same time? It was a really sweet performance. I really thought it was a wonderful.
Well, just a quick shout out. I based that character on two people. The boy that I grew up with, Irvin White, and my first cousin, Adam Bowles. And he sounds like Adam Bowles, and he has the kindness to the boys like Adam Bowles, and he's romantic like Irwin. And that's who I base that guy on. Are two good old boys I'm in love with.
Yeah.
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 So that's what I played.
You shot that in Texas, right?
Shot that in Texas.
Right.
Yeah, we sure did.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
I shot a lot in Texas.
I suggest to anybody, William Sanderson was in that.
Yes, he was. Good old Billy Sanders. We love him.
William Sanderson, if I'm not mistaken, was one of the hillbillies in, what was it, Jim?
Are you talking about Deliverance?
Yeah, in Deliverance. Is that correct? Is that Sanders?
I don't think he was in Deliverance.
I don't think.
Sanders. Oh no, he's the guy who was in the Bob Newhart show. He was.
Yeah.
He went on to play. What was it? Did you say my two brothers?
Oh, he would always he had two brothers, and he'd introduce them as, "This is my brother Daryl, and this is my other brother Daryl." And that was a running gag through the Newhart show for years.
One last point about, well, I actually met Sam Shepard. Did you like? I mean, you didn't probably have very much.
Sam and I worked together 4 times. Sam and I made real friends on Raggedy Man. When I arrived on the set one day, I arrived to do a costume fitting. I'm not shooting for a couple of 3, 4, 5 days.
Yeah.
And I arrive and I meet everybody, and I say, "Where's Sam?" I say, "He's in that barn." "What do you mean he's in that barn?" "That's where he lives." "What do you mean?" "Well, he moved into the loft in that barn. He don't want to be in a hotel." "Okay, cool." So I go there and I walk in the barn and say, "Hello." Sam says who? I said, "Eric Roberts." "Hey, dude, come on up here." And we started hanging out. Great cat, really normal and sweet, not at all weird, not at all like his plays.
Yeah.
Just a neat guy.
Yeah.
And he and I doing a lot of stuff together. And our last time we were together was for a great Western called Purgatory. He plays the sheriff and I played the bad guy. We have a big shootout at the end, blah, blah, blah. Of course, he wins. I die.
Yeah.
And but Sam and I were pals. I loved the guy and really admired him. Yeah. Loved him as an actor, loved him as a writer, loved him as a guy. And Sam was funny and smart.
Yeah. Also, there was an actor in that movie introducing Henry Thomas.
Yeah, who knew?
Who knew Henry Thomas?
I got a story about that too. So we read, I don't know the number, 300 boys for those 2 parts.
Yeah,
a lot of boys. Me and Jack read, and at the time he was having trouble in Hollywood. Spielberg was having trouble casting E.T. Boy.
Yeah,
and couldn't find him.
Yeah,
and Jack said to me one day, I think he said it to many people, but he also said it to me, "I think I found Steven's boy." And he called Steven and he said, "I think I got your boy." And Steven said, "Yeah." Mm-hmm. Anyway, and he showed him footage on him, and he put him in the effing movie.
Yeah.
Wow.
And made him international superstar. Bang!
Yeah.
E.T., one of the best movies ever made.
One of the reasons that he was probably, I agree, one of the reasons that he was probably cast in that movie is he's from Texas.
Yeah.
And I did a movie with a movie with him when he was in his 20s, and he was in college in Texas, but he was from Texas, and that's he was basically probably a local hire, and also in that movie was introducing, although they didn't even introduce her, but she was from Texas, Renee Zellweger.
Renee Zellweger.
Yeah, she had a sort of a small role in it.
Jack has great taste in actors, huh?
Well, he's, like I said, I agree with you 100%. That movie works so incredibly well up until the time that you leave, and then it turns into like a horror movie or whatever. And that's when the studio takes a movie away from a director and starts thinking that they're gonna do, and I don't know what Jack's ending would have looked like, but if it would have just kind of stayed the course and ended,
it did, dude. It was glorious.
Yeah, oh man,
it made you cry a little bit, but not a lot, but a little. Like, oh my god, life. Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah. Anyway, you were just superb in that. And,
I love hearing that. Thank you so much.
Yeah. All right. So the next movie, of course, that I wanted to talk to you about, because I've heard you talking about it on other, in print and so on and so forth, is Pope of Greenwich Village, obviously. Tell me, Eric, if I'm not mistaken, you were offered a role in that movie, and you read the script. You must maybe like the script and said, "I like the script. I like that character, but I like this character more." Is that correct?
Well, what happened was Tennessee Williams died that year.
Okay.
So everybody was doing revivals of Tennessee Williams Classic Plays. And I was doing Glass Menagerie at Hartford. And I'm up there playing Tom Wingfield, having a great time, that great theater that's 3/4 round up there.
Yeah.
I was there having a great time, and I get a script and a book from Howard Koch and Gene Kirkwood.
Yep.
And they say, read this book, read the script, pick apart, Paulie or Charlie. And so I take my time. I think that's like January. I take like a week or 10 days, which is not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to, and take a weekend. But I took a long time and read them both twice. And I got this idea because Paulie was very cliche. But I got this idea to play Paulie not like this tough, dumbass thug that he's written as, but as a mama's boy who wanted to be a tough thug. And I said, that's going to be fun to play that like that. But it's not written that way, so I got to talk to the bosses. So I called Gene Kirkwood and Howard Koch and said, hey, guys, I made a decision. He said, who are you going to play? I want to play Paulie. And he said, well, we wanted to play Charlie. And I said, well, why? Because he's handsome, he's a leading man, he wears suits, he's a ladies' man, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's all true, and that's all fun to do, but I think I have an idea. You know Paulie, how he's written, blah, blah, blah. I want to play him, blah, blah, blah. And they said, whatever you want to do, you do it, because we're hiring you because it's you. And we know that you're the actor we want in this movie. So
Stuart Rosenberg was involved in this?
No, he was not. He was not involved yet.
Okay.
So he was not even thought of yet.
Okay.
So that was January. So I take February, March, April, May, June, July, and most of August. And I don't work. I just live and breathe Paulie Gibboni. And I lose 30 pounds. I perm my hair. I learn my script inside out. And I'm ready to go to work. Now, I'm a horse guy, so I'm up in Connecticut and riding my horses all summer, having great time off. But I'm also working on this project. Okay, so here comes August. We get 5 days of rehearsal before we start to shoot. Me and Mickey do with the director.
Did you know Mickey Rourke before this?
I had not met him. No.
Okay. Let me give you my quick Mickey Rourke story. Okay, because I've got
I'm listening.
It's not even on the script. When I was a young person, I was doing a television series for. Remember Quinn Martin?
I do.
Okay, Quinn Martin. I did a television series for him, and Mickey came in before Mickey was way before Mickey was Mickey. He came in like as a day player.
Before Diner?
Oh, yeah. Before, it's not even on his credits. It's
right.
not even on his IMDb page, right? So he comes in for a day on this television series that I'm doing with Robert Reed and
neat. Robert Reed, dude.
Yep. Yeah. It was a long time ago. Quinn Martin.
The Runaway.
The Runaways, it was called, yeah. So he come in for one day, and I'd never met him before. So he comes in, and I see this guy on this set, and I go over and, introduce myself to say hi to him. And that guy had made more of an impression on me immediately as something was so effing fucking cool about this guy. He was so cool. I mean, when I was young, it was always James Dean. It was always about wanting to be James Dean, always wanting to be Brand. So I'd be in acting classes. Instead of acting like myself, I'd be like, trying to emulate somebody like this guy had an effect on me, which was like stunningly interesting. I just thought, he's a handsome guy and everything, but there was something about the way he talked, something about the way that he grooved that I'll never forget how impressed I was by just spending a little bit of time with him. And when they were getting ready to shoot his shot, probably not seen, but where he came to the door, delivered something or whatever, and said, well, can I get Mickey Rourke from the trailer or whatever? It wasn't there. Nobody could find him, right? Nobody could find Mickey, right? So everybody's like, what is Mickey? The first AD, but everybody was running around, for not long, 2 or 3 minutes. Where's Mickey? Where's Mickey? But we found him. He was across the street. There was a mechanic who, had some cars or whatever, and he was over like underneath the car with the mechanics, hanging out with these mechanics. He didn't pay any attention. And I just thought, like, wow, this guy's cool. And I've seen him since, and I've never really spent any time with him. He's always been really sweet to me. He's always been really nice to me. And, if you had never worked with him before, did you have any, I mean, you're a big star by then, but did he have any kind of that effect on you? I mean, and I know that you have a very special relationship. I watched the Academy Awards when he won the Academy Award, and there was at least a 30-second or a minute where he's thanking you. And can you talk to me a little bit about your relationship with him in that movie?
That was the Independent Spirit Awards, and he got Best Actor for The Wrestler, and he kind of paid homage to me. That was very moving. And
okay,
yeah, we like each other.
Yeah,
We're buds.
Go back to where you were just getting this thing kind of put together. So you've got these, because if Stuart Rosenberg's not involved, you got you, and
Stuart's
then
not involved.
they cast.
What happened was I show up the last week in August, and I'm ready to go, and they're still casting all the small parts and stuff, and they're still location scouting and what have you. And we got 5 days rehearsal with the then director, and we rehearsed for 1 day, 2 days, and the third day, he says, after rehearsal, I would like to speak to you, Eric. I said, sure. So I've told this story in interviews. It's in the book, blah, blah, blah.
Go ahead. Let
me tell the story.
Yeah, I would like you to
okay,
tell it.
So I say after rehearsal, I say, what's up, dude? He goes, why are you so skinny? I said, I want to be a walking spaz attack. That's part of it. He goes, why'd you perm your hair? I said, same thing, walking spaz attack. He looks really mad suddenly and goes, what the F is a walking spaz attack? I said, John Belushi, only skinny. He goes, that's not this guy. This guy he's raised on the streets. He's tough. He's this, he's that. He blah, 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 blah. He starts giving me the whole lineup. All the stuff that I said was cliche 8 months ago to the producers, and I wouldn't play it that way. Can I play it this way? And they said yes. So I said that to him. I said, but I told the producers what I was going to do. I wasn't going to play it that way because that's been done a million times by a million actors. Well, and I'm doing something else. He said, well, we disagree on your interpretation. I would like you to resign. I said, well, wow. I said, well, let me think about it. I was going nowhere. Now, I've been living with this character. I've been developing this personality, and I'm watching all the guys down in Little Italy. I go down there like probably 3 times a week from my place in Connecticut, and I just hang out. And I just hang out. And I watch the old guys play cards, play like pinochle, talk, have coffee. I just watch them.
Yep.
And I absorb them. And I have so much, because I have all this time. It's back in the old days when they made movies like they made movies.
Yep.
Where you got 8 months to create this whole other personality, this whole other world. Anyway, so he asked me to resign. So I say, I'll think about it. I know I'm going nowhere, but what do I do with this? This is weird. I've been asked to quit a movie I'm in love with, and I'm in love with this character I developed. I love this guy.
Didn't they kind of develop it on your back, too? I mean, we got Eric Roberts now.
I don't know.
Okay, go ahead.
But
I think so. But
so I go up to Mickey's room. I say, they asked me to resign. He asked me to resign. So we call the producers from Mickey's room. We call Katja and Costner. We say, dudes, here's what's happening. Wow. And they go, we'll take care of it. We go, okay, bye. I guess they're taking care of it. Me and Mickey kind of look at each other like, I don't know. What's going on? I don't know. That's weird. Well, let's go eat. So we went and ate, and we came back, and we have all these phone calls waiting for us. And we have all these people who want to direct the movie, including, of all people, Mike Cimino.
Wow. Ooh.
Now,
wow.
I had gotten hip to Cimino, not to undermine my neighbor and my friend Chris Walken.
Yeah.
I'd gotten hip to Cimino through Heaven's Gate and Chris doing that, because Chris and I lived, less than a half mile apart in Connecticut, and we also lived only 4 blocks away from each other in New York.
Okay.
So we're neighbors, we're pals, we have the same manager, we shop at the same grocery store. We're like pals. We're like buddies. So anyway, Where was he?
You were talking about Heaven's Gate.
So they have all these directors who want to direct a movie, including Mike Cimino. So Mickey kind of molds it over Cimino. Cimino, man, it's Cimino.
Yeah,
he did. He's yeah. I say I don't think that's a good idea. I say I got a buddy they're like 9 months overdue on a movie my buddy's making, and I think it's so I don't think it's a good idea. I don't think we need a guy who's gonna triple schedules.
Studio,
yeah. So he did. He brought down a whole studio with that movie. Heaven's Gate. Who knew, dude? That's far out. Yeah. Anyway, so I put the jinx on that, but then they said, "Have you seen Amityville Horror?" I said, I have. Do you like it? I don't know. Let me watch it again. I watched it again. Great editing. What a movie.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah. They said, well, we're bringing him in. Stuart Rosenberg. Cool. They brought him in. He directed a great movie. He's a great guy. He's a good director, fun to know, fun to hang out with, has a great son who's as talented and cool as he was. And we had a great time.
I think one of the best movies, one of my favorite movies of all movies is Cool Hand Luke. You okay?
Cool Hand Luke is a great movie.
You need anything?
Paul Newman.
You need anything?
No, I'm just saying hi to my wife.
Okay. All right. Well, it's a great movie, and Stuart Rosenberg directed it.
Yeah.
And I was telling Jim, who's on our headphones, I was telling him earlier when I sat down, because it came up, and one of the greatest acting moments that I've seen is when Paul Newman is given a piece of paper that says his mother has died in Cool Hand Luke, and he gets up and he walks and he goes up and he sits on his bunk and he picks up the ukulele and he sings that song. What does it go, Jim? Jim has got a memory.
It's I don't care if it rains or freezes, long as I've got a plastic Jesus sitting on the dashboard of my car.
Comes and tie it on
and then
him.
and then
tears
he
start
gets
coming
into
out.
it a little
Long
bit
shot.
more. Yeah,
about a minute shot.
I don't care if it rains or freezes, long as I've got a plastic Jesus sitting on the dashboard of my car. And then he kind of gets really into that song, and you can tell that he's hitting the road again. He's going into the wind.
He's singing to his mama.
Yeah. And it's Paul Newman. I don't. You ever had a chance? Did you ever meet Paul? Did you ever meet him?
I did Paul's last play with him at the Actors Studio.
You did.
He played. Wow. He played a judge. I played his son as a lawyer, and his wife, Joanne Woodward, played my mom, his wife, in the play.
Wow.
And we had the greatest experience together. He was a cool guy to know, great guy to work with. I loved the play. Don't remember the name of it. I apologize to the writer.
That's right.
That's so horrible to bring that up and not know the title. Anyway, he was a cool cat, man.
Yeah.
And he was a magnificent actor. He got so undermined because he was so beautiful. He looked like a painting. Even in his old age, he looked like a painting.
No, I know.
Piercing blue eyes.
I know.
And that
Incredible.
jawline. And he just looked like a fantasy man.
I know.
Like we all want to be that guy, and women want to be on the arm of that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. And he was just cool.
So, so you and Mickey had never worked before. That relationship, you said you had a few days rehearsal. Was the rehearsal? Let me ask you another question too, Eric. When do you change dialogue? Like if something doesn't work, dialogue, you see exposition like 2 or 3 times. Like why do we need it? Do you rework?
Not in Pope. Everything I say in Pope except one line. One line I improvised. Everything in Pope was all Vinnie Patrick. That glorious effing dialogue was all Vinnie Patrick, except when I'm eating tomato soup and Mickey serves me white bread and I say, quote, white bread. No one of these whites got no color. That's me.
Right.
Everything else is Vinnie Patrick. Everything else.
Now, I think, tell me if I'm wrong, I think that you've also been quoted as saying that Mickey Rourke liked to improv a lot.
Mickey Rourke just doesn't do homework. He does not learn a line of dialogue.
How do you do a scene with somebody who isn't like throwing up? And we'll get to Sterling Hayden if we have time. But how do you do a scene with somebody who doesn't.
When you have
throw
an
the
actor, like Mickey, you always stay on course, even though you're not on dialogue. You stay on course. Mickey's one of the great actors of our time.
I know.
Mickey's truly a great actor.
I know.
Mickey, you know, he will take you on a ride, but he'll bring you back to where you're supposed to be.
Okay.
He's not a fool.
Okay.
He's just an artist, and it's a little sloppy sometimes, as art is, but he's Mickey Rourke, man. He's one of the greats.
Yeah.
And one of the greatest performances of my lifetime is a movie called Barfly. Ever see it?
Yeah, yeah.
Dude, damn! How do you do that?
Drinks for all my friends.
Drinks for all my friends. Yeah, I know. And so I'm a fan, dude. I'm a big fan of that guy.
Yeah.
For all the right reasons.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get a cue. Okay, work around it.
Right. Yeah. No, I get it.
You got no choice, dude.
I get it.
You're either going to have a problem or you're going to work around it.
And you really kind of have to trust him because he's always slapping you around and fucking grabbing you and fucking punching
The only
you.
thing he did that was mean was our first night together on the set was the night we get fired, and it's a scene on the street. We're on the street.
Yep.
He said, "What'd you do? What'd you do? What'd you do?" Kind of thing. And he's supposed to bounce a cigarette off my chest and have the flame, blah blah. It's supposed, it's a symbol of the situation, And he didn't bounce it off. He kept throwing it into my shirt. And after 5-8 takes, of course, I'm burned all over. And I pointed that out to him. He kind of shrugged. But that was the only moment of discomfort we really had together. Everything else was we were kicking its ass.
Well,
and we knew it. We were having fun doing it.
People talk about like buddy movies, and you're talking about Newman and Redford and so on. But that relationship is so wonderful. Two actors, two friends, and by the way, Daryl Hannah was also excellent in that movie. I thought she was also excellent.
She's
just
so
much
beautiful, dude. Look at her.
I know.
She takes your breath away a little bit.
Yeah, I know. I've spent a little bit of time with her, and she's sweet.
We love her.
Yeah. But that relationship that you two created for that movie, and maybe it was already on the paper to a certain extent, is one of the best kind of men love stories that I've ever seen in film.
Vinny Patrick gave us the blueprint. We just built it right.
Yeah.
And Mickey and I, Mickey and I have like big bro love. We love each other.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I irritate him as much as he irritates me. But that's what happens when you're brothers.
You know who is in that movie? There's I was looking up the credits on that movie, and I don't see it in my notes here, but there's a guy named The Lip. Okay, do you know Nick Vallelonga?
I do.
Okay, well, Nick and I've done like 4 or 5 things for Nick, and Nick won 2 Academy Awards for a Green Book, and I don't know, said the wrong thing, something to do with Muslims or Trump or something like that. And he really got canceled out. And then there have been some problems recently. But I didn't even know he was in that. But his father used to hang out a lot when we were shooting. And they called him The Lip. And I don't know if you even remember him being in.
Of course I do.
You do?
Yes.
You do. Do you remember Nick even from that time?
Of course I do.
You do. Okay.
It was a small set. It was a small crew. It was a small cast.
Okay.
And so we had day players and extras. We're all in the same area. We're all together. We all hung out.
Okay.
There was no status on that movie.
Okay.
It was just making a movie.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well, that's that is a cool movie without a doubt. So let's move on to 15 minutes or so. Let's move on to Runaway Train. Okay. And I think before they went out to real stars, I think I met Andre for that movie. I don't know why, but in my memory, it just seems to me that I met him. I was very aware of that movie, and then of course I saw that. And is that the movie that you got nominated for?
Yeah, it is for an Academy Award.
You got nominated for an Academy.
That was my third Golden Globe nomination and my first Academy Award nomination.
Well, congratulations on that. And you also got nominated for a movie that was not like this monster hit. Usually, a lot of times you don't see them take a performance like yours out of a movie that's not that well. Well, maybe it was well received. Go ahead.
Because of that fact, at the time when John and I got nominated, I instantly thought, did they buy those nominations?
Right.
Because Golden Globus were very rich men.
Yes.
And this was not a huge budget, but it was a big budget. I think it was $12 million, $14 million, Runaway Train, something like that.
Okay.
Which at the time, now that'd probably be the equivalent of like $40 million.
Yeah.
But, so it's sizable, but it's not huge. It's not out of control. It's just big. And what was the question?
We'll talk about Runaway Train. I was saying that I thought I met Andrew.
Andre Konchalovsky.
Yeah, thank you.
Was
never going to get that right.
He was the boss, and they gave him complete freedom.
They did, yeah.
They did. They said you're the man, and I said to Andre, that's another character change. That character is a tough guy, written, and he was in for rape, and blah blah blah. And I said, it's kind
statutory, as you point out in the movie.
No, but that came later.
Yeah.
What happened was I said, these characters are too much alike.
Uh-huh.
So I wanna go the other way. Let's change rape to statutory, and let's have him be stupid, but likable stupid, not irritating stupid.
Yeah.
And I'll change my whole voice so he's got a whole thing. He sounds completely different. And not at all like, man, he talks like this. He's just up here having a good time. You know what I mean? Oh, my God. And Andre, who probably, being a Russian, had no idea what my accent was or wasn't.
Right.
But I said, can I change the accent into blah, 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 and can I do this and this and this? And he said, Eric, whatever you want, you do it. Okay, great. So I did. And had a great time.
Right.
John Voight and I had so much fun making the movie together. We're two actors acting, and we had fun every single day we worked together. And I fell in love with him as an actor, and I will always treasure that experience with that actor as an actor.
I've never met anybody that has worked with him that doesn't have the same sentiments. People really love the guy, and I've never had a chance to work with him. I worked with his daughter once, and but I never had a chance to work with him. But you guys, I thought you were quoted as saying that was one of the more difficult movies that you ever had to make. Is that
physically? Yeah, it was hard and it was cold.
Okay,
cold as a nun's hiney, dude. Okay. It was cold, man.
Okay. Well, let me ask you a question, because this reminds me of, because let me talk a little bit about, I think that you had a car accident once, right?
June 4th, 1981.
Okay.
I tried to climb a tree in a CJ5.
Okay. And you had some pretty bad injuries to your head, right? With your brain?
I had brain trauma. Yeah, I was in a coma for a little while.
I had a stroke.
Wow, dude! Yeah, it's the same thing.
I think it's
the same thing as brain trauma.
Yeah, you had to. Did you have to relearn to walk and all?
Yeah,
that?
Dude.
How long was the and are there any how long did
it was hard, man. I had that accident June 4th. I'm in rehearsal for a Broadway play at the end of August. So June, July, August. So I spent 90 days in just
rehabbing, sort of.
Yeah, but I spent the next 10 years recovering.
Right. Yeah, it took me because what it did is it took a little bit of sight out of one of my eyes, but it also took my memory, and so it took my brain about 10 years to get to a place where I thought, okay, well, because I couldn't memorize dialogue, I couldn't memorize anything, hotel rooms, all that sort of stuff. So I don't really necessarily. I just say that we have that in common, and it's something that I was able to overcome. It sounds like something that you were able to overcome. So if there's anybody out there that's I have a good friend of mine who's a detective in Arizona who just had a bleed on his brain, and I call him all the time and check up on him because your brain will heal itself. Is what I was.
It's an incredible tool,
isn't it? Yeah.
What it can do, and it's an amazing piece of something or other. My memory was so bad when I came home from the hospital. After a month of being in the hospital, I came home, and I would brush my teeth, put down my toothbrush, wash out my mouth, and not know where my toothbrush was.
Right.
That's how bad it is.
Right.
That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
And I would sob every day over self-pity because I'm an actor. I'm ruined.
Right.
And I would, but you know what? I worked really hard. And
well, let me answer this question. Let me ask you a little bit about marijuana. I am under the impression that you've talked before about some marijuana use and the fact that you don't do it when you're acting. And is that something that you can talk about?
yeah, I mean,
Because I was a wake and bake guy for 30 years, so I'm not coming at you like marijuana is a big deal. But I've heard you say, well, I don't use it while I'm acting. But as an actor, there are days where you don't have any dialogue. You're just walking around, walking through shots and stuff. So
I've actually never said I don't do it while I'm acting, because what I used to do is smoke dope every single evening after I got home.
Okay.
But I don't act stoned because I can't talk.
Right. Okay.
I have a thing, if I do any kind of drug, especially an upper like a coke or methamphetamine, I cannot speak. It just doesn't come out of my mouth.
Coke's not good for me either.
Oh, it's such a horrible drug.
Terrible.
Anyway,
Horrible.
And pot too. I mean, I get it's a whole other kind of incapacitation, but it is a form of incapacitation, and I just I can't do it in work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that when you were during that period of time, because I got a little bit of success, not your kind of success, but I saw New York for the first time. I did a movie called The Fan with Lauren Bacall, and it was like this, being New York before.
That's a good ass movie, dude.
Well, it's no. Well, thank you for saying that, but
that's a good ass movie.
Not a lot of people agreed with you on that.
Yeah.
Well, usually it's gay men.
I don't read my reviews. Why would I read your reviews?
Yeah. Oh, good. Well, thank you. Well, that's nice. I mean, it was a little.
I love Lauren Bacall, and I love you. Simple as that. You're a really good actor, dude.
Oh, well, thank you.
You were always a really good actor.
Oh, well, thank you.
It's not an opinion. It's just what you were. You were a really good actor, dude. Why aren't you still doing it?
Well, I don't do it like you do it. Okay, you've got 400 or 700 credits, or you've got a lot of.
I lost count at 75.
Okay, all right. Well, you do it all the time. 2 years ago, a couple of years, 3 years ago, I thought I was going to retire. I got an offer from Jon Favreau to go do Mandalorian. So there's certain people you just don't say no to,
I forgot.
right? And then, so I did that, and then I worked with a guy on Grindhouse with. Have you ever worked with Robert Rodriguez?
No.
No, he's fantastic. He's unbelievable. I got to sit between Robert and Quentin Tarantino for 6 months doing Grindhouse. But this guy named Greg Nicotero, who did the special effects makeup.
What a cool name.
Yeah, and Greg is now, was the showrunner for The Walking Dead. He called me up. He said, we're in our last season. You want to do it? I'm like, okay. So I went down there. I did a couple of days on that, and that character kind of made me feel feel, well, that's kind of good. I didn't know if he was a good guy or a bad guy, so I just kind of, I never knew. I just played him, and it was kind of like, I kind of like this. So I did. Eric, I did 2 years ago. I did a movie in Australia, and 2 years ago I did a movie in
So
Thailand.
you're still a working actor.
Yeah, to a certain extent. But now, as you well know, you know this better, but I don't know if you ever do them. Now I can go to these shows and I can just walk into a place and I'll have people standing in lines that are like 300 long, and people walk up to me. They tell me how awesome I am, how bitchin' I am, what a great actor I am, how I changed their lives, and they hand me money and walk away. So you know what I'm talking about, the Comic-Cons and stuff like that.
Oh, Comic-Cons, dude. Yeah.
So here's the thing. When I was in Thailand, it's 4:00 in the morning. We're shooting nights. It's 4:00 in the morning. They're holding me for a shot. I know they're never going to get to. I'm sitting there. I'm exhausted. I'm smoking a cigarette, which is like horrible for me to be smoking a cigarette. I'm like, what are you effing doing? What are you effing doing? Like, why is it that important to still get like this as compared to just walk into these shows and have people just like pour money on you? I just got back from doing one with Linda Hamilton and Robert Patrick.
Isn't Linda lovely? And
Linda's fantastic.
Isn't she a fantastic human? I know.
She's the best. I fell in love with her when we did The Terminator. She is just absolutely awesome.
She's easy on the eyes, dude.
Yeah. You're telling me, man. I was married at that time, and she was married at that time, and both of us were. Let me see.
Don't even go there. You were married.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we didn't go there.
I love being married. By the way.
Well,
I love being married. I love being married as much, and for kind of the same comfort, familiarity feeling that I get acting. I mean, acting and marriage are two things I really dig, and I've been doing them both a long ass time. I love being married. I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah, well, that's nice, and I also love being a parent, and I know that you do too. I've heard you talk, and I know that you're a very proud parent, and I love acting too, but I also love my family.
Look at the actor
my kids.
My kid became. Look at the actor.
I know.
Look at the actor she became.
I know. I mean, that must make you feel pretty good that you created that and had maybe something to do with the fact that.
And I'm not responsible for any of her performances.
Yeah.
This is all her becoming brilliant.
Yeah.
I know.
All right. Let me see if I have anything else that I can ask you about. I wanted to ask you, when you do get successful, all of a sudden you have a lot of money. They're picking you up in limousines at the airports, and people with their signs with your name on it. You get into every club. You don't have to stand in line at clubs. You get the best seats at restaurants. You're staying at the hotels. You're staying at the best hotels and room service. Nice cars, jewelry. Do you think that? Did you ever feel that like that helped lead you to making choices as an actor?
Not at all. Let me tell you about my first day on a movie set. So I get my first movie. Oh my God, I'm in a freaking movie, dude. It's a big movie. It's Dino De Laurentiis. I'm in this huge movie. I can't believe it. And I'm up all night before the first day. I'm a wreck. I'm up all night with fear. Time to be picked up. I go downstairs. There's a car. It's like a town car, with a driver. And I say, dude, I'm going to follow you to work. Where are we going? We're going to the Marx Brothers studio in Queens. Okay, I'm going to follow you. I get on my motorcycle. I'm behind him all the way out there. We get there. I pull up on the sidewalk. There's Dino De Laurentiis and Frank Pearson standing there side by side. My producer, my director. Yeah. And Dino De Laurentiis like, what the F are you doing on a motorcycle? You're making a movie for me. You can't get on these things. And he throws a temper tantrum in front of everybody, all directed at me. And I will never write that again while I'm making a film for him. Right. Blah, 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 blah. So I'm already behind the eight ball. I mean, I effed up. I'm behind the 8 ball. I'm embarrassed. And nobody comes to my defense whatsoever. I'm just out there, hung. And so that was that's how I feel about all that stuff. I don't need that stuff. I don't ask for that stuff. I don't look for that stuff.
Right.
But I notice it when it happens, and I say to my wife, "Can you believe this room?"
Yes.
Of course I do that.
Yeah.
And can you believe this view? Oh my God!
Yeah.
I mean, of course, can you believe we don't drink and we got a $1,000 bottle of champagne? What do we do with blah blah blah? Yes, I love that crap. It's so much fun.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's like another story. It's not the career. It's not the work.
Yes.
It's just this
Comes
bow.
along with the
This bow you get on it is that stuff.
Yeah.
And it's cool.
Yeah.
But it's also silly. And you got to have humor about it because it comes and goes so completely
it
there
does.
and so completely not there that you have to have humor.
Yeah.
And
did you? What was your? How did you get that movie? Thieves, Prince of Dark,
King of the Gypsies.
King of the Gypsies. Thank you,
Prince of Darkness. That was also a great movie with a great actor. Who was the actor? Started?
Heath.
Was that?
No.
Treat Williams. Treat.
Yeah, I didn't love that movie.
Stop it. Treat's a cool cat.
I didn't say I didn't like Treat.
I like Treat. I like Treat a lot. I like Treat's work. I think Treat got ripped off. I think
what?
he should have been a bigger star. He should have been a superstar, man. He was great.
He's just a great actor. I
know.
But
he didn't become a superstar. And what? Oh, shut up, Eric, she's saying.
My wife says the same thing.
I know.
What was I saying? Usually you're doing very well. My wife was here. She would have already finished about 30 of my sentences and told me what I was talking about.
My wife is taking on this job on her own that she follows me around all day long just to say to people, he's only kidding. He's only kidding. No, he's only kidding. No. And she'll laugh and she'll, no, he's only kidding. But all day long. Yeah.
Okay, tell me how you got that cast in that role, because you went from 0 to 100.
King of the Gypsies?
Yes.
Oh, I auditioned.
Yeah.
I screen tested. The only cool part of that story is I auditioned several times, then I get the screen test. They're screen testing 5 of us at the Gulf and Western Building on this date. Once again, I'm up most of the night because, anxiety.
Okay.
And it's snowing. And it keeps snowing. And it snows. So you can't see the sidewalks and all the traffic stops. And I'm like, wow. I call my manager. Do I still have a screen test today? You sure do, buddy. Now, I was on 73rd Street and Central Park West.
Okay.
And so I had, whatever it was, 13 blocks to walk down to the Gulf and Western Building.
Okay.
And so I walk in the snow, no traffic. It's like a dead town. It's like a ghost town. I get down the Gulf and Western Building on foot, get up to my place. Of course, they're behind because of the snow. They say your screen test will not be as scheduled. It'll be later. So relax in this room. I go in somebody's office, and I go to sleep. And I slept until they wake me up for the test. They said, it's time for you to come screen test. Okay, cool. Am I wearing anything else but what I'm wearing now? And they said, you're wearing this full-length leather jacket.
Right.
I put it on. I walk off on the set. The set is a stool. I look up. There's Frank Pearson smiling.
Yep.
And I point at the stool. And he says, use it or not. I'm 20 years old and a nervous fucking wreck, dude. I'm a nervous fucking wreck. And the guy tells me use it or not to a stool that's so low that I'd have to make a comedy if I'm going to use it. So I ignore it. And I do this scene where my grandfather picks me up and he's taking me home.
From the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the car. Yeah.
And I tell him how I don't want to do this crap. And I did the scene. And Frank, as I leave, Frank says, you're a very fine actor. I said, thank you, Mr. Pearson. And then 3 days later, I was told I had the part.
Wow.
He showed it. I was told by Frank, because Frank and I ended up getting really close, that he showed it to Dino, and he said, that's what I want. And supposedly Dino said, well, of course it is.
Just keep him off the fucking motorcycle.
Yeah.
That came later.
What are you doing on that thing? Oh, he had such a fit, man. He embarrassed me so much.
I know that I've heard you talk a little bit about Sterling Hayden and, the hash and, all that kind of stuff or whatever. But he also said, well, we're just going to fucking improv it, just go with me or whatever.
No.
Okay.
He says to me,
yeah.
What scene are we shooting? I said, scene 87. I know the fucking number. What happens? I said, it's kind of a pivotal scene,
It's a great scene from both of you, but it's his profile and shit. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but so I say what the sce's about.
Yeah,
it's a big scene.
Yeah, it's a really great scene.
Changes the whole movie. It's a pivotal scene in the movie. And he says to me, okay, important scene. How you improvisation, young man? I'm okay, because that's what we're doing. And that's what we did.
But did you improv your dialogue? Was that that wasn't improv? That was written, correct?
Half and half. And I would, because I never got a proper cue from him, I would have to invert stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're just about out of time. The last thing that I wanted to say to you was that...
Well, we got of time. I got plenty of time.
You got plenty of time. How long have we been going, Jim?
Hour 20.
Hour 20. Well, listen, if you want to stay,
Let's make it even 40 more minutes.
Okay. It's okay with me.
Is that okay with my boss?
Look at you.
I have a casting Zoom that starts.
Oh, right. We have a Zoom.
I don't want to interrupt you guys. I can always just go outside and do it.
Well, you guys figure this out. I don't think I should get it.
Aren't your podcasts a certain amount of time?
We typically go between 1:15 to 2 hours. It's around that long.
Whatever you want to do, the priority is you guys.
Well, let me talk to you a little bit about the Expendables.
Expendables.
Okay, because let me tell you this. Oh, I also want to tell you, you were also in that movie. You work with Brooke Shields, a young, very, very young Brooke Shields.
I played her older brother.
Not the Expendables. Not the Expendables in King of the Gypsies. She was in King of the Gypsies.
She played my baby
she's
sister.
About 13, yeah.
Yeah.
She went on the when I was.
And then 20 years later, I played her husband. Go ahead.
I wanted to play her husband, but she went on the Tonight Show. She was on the Tonight Show, and Johnny Carson's kibitzing with her and whatever. Hey, you got a boyfriend or whatever? And she goes, no, but I just saw this movie, The Terminator, and there's a guy on there, Michael Biehn. I really like him. So she says that to Johnny Carson, and of course, it
went viral, as it were, before viral.
Yeah, and so of course I heard that, and I was like, oh my God, isn't that like wonderful? I think she stayed a virgin until she was like 22 or 23 or something. But she went. She came into the improv. Remember the improv?
I did.
Yeah, when she came into the improv one time. I also saw the guy, the playwright that you like so much in there. He wasn't as nice to me as he was to you, but but anyway, so she comes into the improv. I'd had a couple of drinks, and man, I was on her like. I scared the death out of her, man. Oh. She ran from that club with,
I'm sorry you did that. She's such a lovely person.
I didn't. I wasn't doing anything other than.
She's really normal. For
I know.
all the fame and all the stuff.
I'm the one who's not normal, Eric. I know she's normal. I'm the one who's not normal. So you came on a little strong.
You blew it, huh?
I probably was married at the time anyway. I've always been married, it seems. But anyway, Expendables. Let me tell you a quick story about that, and then I want to hear about your experiences. Stallone, who I'd never met before. I saw him once, also like you. I saw him once over in Japan when I was promoting something. He was promoting, and he was there with his guys, and he looked over, and he kind of looked at me and smiled. And I was with my brother, and I should have just got up and gone over and said, hi, I'm Michael. And I would have sat with him and the whole thing, but I was scared. I was like...
He's cool, man.
I know.
He's very approachable.
Of course, everybody seems to be pretty... How many assholes do you run into, Eric? Not very many, right, in our business?
Oh, tons.
Oh, you do? All right, give me a list, man. Let's talk names. Who was the first director on Pope? Anyway, you're
Not a bad guy, by the way. Not a bad director.
Did he go
either.
on to direct good things? You don't have to say his name. You know.
He actually did, and if I tell you what he directed, you'll know who he is, and that's not polite.
No,
I think.
it's not. Okay.
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
it.
So,
I get it.
so,
all right.
so
So
never mind.
anyway, so Stallone comes out, and I read this. I think by that time we had computers, and I read. He comes out and he goes, "Yeah, I'm thinking about doing this thing." He's talking about the Expendables. Do I get all these old action guys who aren't working anymore, like Michael Biehn, and put them all in a movie and make a movie? And I kind of thought, well, thank you for throwing me under the bus. That I'm not fucking working anymore, Sly. But whatever. So, but I heard that, and he said that, and then he made the fucking movie, and he didn't put me in it. He didn't put me in it. Anyway,
we had so much fun making that movie,
and I know what a horse he is, and I have so much respect for the guy. And Cameron wrote the second one of his. Anyway,
Rambo movie.
The Rambo movie. What was your experience like with him and working on?
Oh, we love each other.
Yeah,
we're friends. I mean, we made the Specialist in together, and that was fun. In fact, one night.
You made a movie called The Specialist?
You don't know that movie?
I don't know.
You
that
missed
movie.
a classic
Jim,
film, dude.
What movie? Tell me.
Classic film.
Yeah.
So he plays a bomb maker. Anyway, I said to my wife one day while we're down in Miami shooting The Specialist, I said to my wife one night when I'm off, they have a night shoot tonight. Let's go just walk up like fans and just stand with the group and watch, because I've never done that. I'd like to go do that.
Yeah.
She goes, sure.
Yeah.
So we go there and we're in the crowd. I think they don't know we're there. We're in the crowd. And Slide's doing a scene on the sidewalk, and suddenly Slide says, Eric, we don't have a scene together in this movie. And I'm like, oh, God, he knows we're here. Yeah, I know. So write one. I will. I'll write it tonight. We'll shoot it tomorrow. I think he's showing off for the crowd, I just think, yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, he's going to write it tonight. We're going to shoot it tomorrow. Yeah, right. Okay. Besides, I'm off tomorrow. So, I don't worry about it, Okay. He does. He writes it that night, and the next day he calls me in the set. Hey, read this scene. So read the scene, and it's a scene where I put a knife in his eye, blah, blah, so and so. And we shot it. And so he was like, not only am I in a Sly movie, but I got a really cool scene with him that I'm the badass. And, I get to take down, Sly Stallone with a knife in his eye. You better behave kind of stuff. Really cool little scene. And so he's my friend, that's for sure. Yeah. So then comes Expendables, and hey, I want to play a bad guy again. Yeah. I just love him, and he's a great boss. He's a great leader.
Yes.
He knows his shit. He's made enough movies where he knows what's what and why.
Yeah.
And he will explain to you. No, we're doing this because of this. You're like, okay, go. And he's just a fun guy to work for. The Expendables was camp. It was like summer effing camp, dude.
Who else was in it? Why can't I place that movie? Who else was in it?
Everybody who's ever made an action movie is in it except you.
Expendables.
Expendables.
What was the other movie that you mentioned that I didn't know about?
The Specialist.
What's The Specialist?
It's a great film.
What is
Sharon Stone.
Oh.
Sly Stallone. Rod Steiger plays my dad.
Oh, man.
It's such a good-ass movie. Yeah.
One of my old bosses, Jerry Weintraub, produced
Jerry
that.
was our boss. Yeah, Jerry was our producer.
Yep.
Jerry was such a cool guy. He and my wife fell in love.
Yeah?
Yeah, like I had to watch him.
You did.
No, like you think I'm joking.
Well, she has a career of her own. I think that she could maybe she can come and be a guest on the podcast.
You would have so much fun talking to my wife.
I think
I've been
probably
talking to her
would.
for over 32 years, and I still like talking to her.
Well,
who knew that was going to happen?
That's crazy.
I know.
That's a long time.
I know.
That's good.
I know.
That's good. What else you got? You got anything you want to talk about?
I got one.
All right.
And I know you've talked about it a lot extensively elsewhere, but you're here, so I just want to hear it straight from you. The Dark Knight. One of my favorite movies. I've seen it over 100 times.
My favorite story about me in The Dark Knight as I'm doing a scene one day in my $2,000 suit on my incredible set, and this incredible the old Zeppelin hangars, all Gotham City. I'm on set. I'm doing a scene with 5 cameras, all this stuff. I am in heaven, and I'm doing a scene. Action! I'm doing a scene. I hear from the boss in the big megaphone. Cut! Very loud. Cut! All right, cut! Everybody, dead silence. And Chris Nolan says, Eric Roberts, don't be funny. That's my favorite note I ever got. I'm not kidding, dude. Chris Nolan telling me not to be funny. I never get hired for fucking comedy, okay? I'm funny to Chris Nolan. I'm in heaven. Anyway, but that was just a great experience. Basically, why I liked that experience so much was because I'm a movie geek, right? I'm a huge movie geek. I know a lot about movies and movie makers. Well, they told us we're shooting all the Chicago stuff for Dark Knight in Chicago and all the other stuff at Pinewood, all the Gotham City stuff.
Yep.
Okay, we've all been to Pinewood.
I have. Aliens, we shot.
It's a wreck, that studio.
Love it.
But yeah, it's huge. We love it.
Yeah.
Okay, but we don't go to Pinewood. No, it's a secret. We're going to go to the old Zeppelin hangar. It's been closed since 1919, but they reopened it for Gotham City. You walk in, it's Gotham City. Okay, cool. We show up the first day. I walk in there. It's all Gotham City. Oh, my God. It takes your breath away. Me and Gary Oldman had so much fun being children on that set.
Another brilliant
dude,
guy.
it was heaven.
Wow.
It was heaven, especially if you're a movie geek.
Yeah.
And we just had so much fun. It had traffic lights. It had everything you could have. It had everything.
Wow.
Had a candy shop. Had and it was and we just had so much fun. I mean, we're just geeks.
Yeah.
And I love that experience because that is power, that is money, and that is talent. I mean, look who he put in that movie because he could.
Yeah.
I mean, God.
Yeah.
And he was a cool guy, and he's got a cool wife, Emma. She's the boss.
Yeah. It always seems like they're always the boss. That's what happens around my household. I think I'm running everything until I'm not running it at all. And I've been given the information I'm actually walking in the wrong direction or saying the exact opposite thing to what I meant. Happens to me quite often.
Well, we're lucky we're attracted to our bosses.
Yes, that's true. 30 years. That's 32 years for you guys. So congratulations on that. Yeah. What else you got, Eric? Anything else?
What else I got, boss?
There's so much. I mean, for one thing, what were your experiences? Did you ever see regarding Henry, the film with Harrison Ford?
Maybe one of the best performances by an actor on film is Harrison Ford regarding Henry. And he had the same brain trauma in that movie that I had in real life, and.
He did. What happened with the plane accident when he went down in the plane? Is it?
No, in the movie.
In the
movie.
It's called Regarding Henry the movie.
I don't know if I usually
it's a Mike Nichols movie.
It's a Mike Nichols movie. That's right.
Movie. It's a big movie.
What happens to him in the movie?
He's a successful lawyer who suffers a traumatic brain injury and has to build his life back together again.
And he plays it as someone who's been through that. He plays that perfectly.
Really? Well, I'll have to watch that because it was a big part of my life, and I feel like I was. I do kind of like Alzheimer's backwards, where I've lost it all, and bit by bit it comes back, and now I'm at the point where. I still forget stuff, but I don't know if it's because I'm almost 70 or, if it's my brain, But I can remember dialogue now, which is the most important thing because I could never really work with any sense of self with like something stuck in my ear giving me like my lines. For me, I mean, everybody's different. And I had an actor on here who was talking about another actor who uses it who I totally respect, love all his movies. But for me, I got to be able to like do it the way that I used to always do it.
Well, like Johnny Depp's always using earwigs, and he's
yeah.
great with it. I can't use earwigs because I have to be in the character.
Yeah.
And if I hear somebody talking to me, I'm in reality.
Yeah.
And it blows me. I have to have a cue card because a lot of movies I say yes on a Friday and we shoot on a Monday.
Yeah.
And so okay, I will do this, but I need the cue cards. So there be cue cards everywhere, and I just talk my ass off with no sweat when it's that. But cue cards are a problem for the DP and for the other actors. You don't want to have them if you don't need them.
Well, you know what? As an actor, Eric, I give an F if somebody wants to use cue cards. Is there somebody in my eye line? There's like I don't like anything that why would cue? I don't know why it would bother me.
Yeah, but you have to respect the fact that it's distracting. It could be distracting. It's almost always behind an actor if I'm talking to an actor, so he doesn't even see them. But you have to remember everybody's like you. We get distracted, we get bothered, we get confused, we get whatever it is that's not altogether positive. We all go through that, and you can't make it harder for your mate to have to go through that on a set with you. You have to keep it comfortable because making movies is hard, and time is money, and money is time, and it's always clicking. So So that's also part of why I love cue cards, because I can do a whole monologue without losing sleep the night before.
Well, I understand, and there are times, and this happened to me somewhat recently, where I got a script on a Thursday. I was like, it's an episodic show. I got a script on the Thursday. I was like, but it was a good show. And I was like, I should probably do it. It's a good show. Friday it got better, but the dialogue changed. I was supposed to start shooting on Tuesday morning, and so I took it. I flew to New York. I got to New York, and there was a script. They were already shooting the episode. There was a script, and big show, 40 Teamsters. I mean, big fucking show, And I had like my whole scene was being shot. My whole character was a guest starring character. The whole character was being shot in one day. It was like 10 pages.
I'm so sorry.
I said to them, go find somebody else that can fucking learn 10 pages.
I'm so sorry.
Well,
no, I'm so sorry because I understand.
Well, and I pride myself in not going, what's the line? So I said to them, that's the one time that I used an ear thing, because I said to them, go find somebody else who can learn 10 pages in 24 hours and do the COVID test and the wardrobe test and, do all that kind of stuff the same, and then go to work the next morning, 6:00 and have 10 pages. So I did.
That's what we do, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fun, huh? Do you look at your life do you look at your life and just go like, this has just been awesome? Do you have any regrets? I was
having that talk with my wife just the other day. I was saying, we moved in this hotel room a couple of movies back. It was this glorious room. I said, look at this room we got. Look at this blah, 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 blah. Damn, our lives are so harried and hurried and unappreciated, and who cares? But aren't they great?
Yes.
We have so much fun, and we see so much cool stuff.
Yes.
And we
work with such great people.
Yeah. And also, since I started
such great locations everywhere around the world. I'm sure you've worked in Europe, and
there's like 192 countries. I've been to something like 110 of them
on movies, right?
Yeah,
where you actually have to live there. You're not a tourist. You live there for a while, right?
That's right.
Yeah, isn't that wonderful?
It's so neat, dude.
Yeah.
I have the best job on the planet, and that's a fact, not an opinion. I have the best job there is to have.
Good.
I love going to work. Who can say that? Every day I love going to work. Every day, and even on the days that it's going to be hell, I love going to work.
I do too.
Yeah,
I do too. I love going to work, and I love doing it. There's a little bit of like hanging out for the whites, and before they get into this.
Well, what's also since we got HD,
Yep.
they don't have to light so much. And since, when we got into movies, you stayed away from the set up till the clapboard went up because it's so hot.
Yeah.
Especially the chicks. Stayed away from the set because your makeup runs, your hair gets tired. You
Yes.
stay away from it because it's 110 degrees on the set. It's awful.
Yeah.
So you stayed away from sets up until the clapboard went up.
Yeah.
Now you got LEDs. It's like going on vacation. Dude, it's great to be on a set. You live on a set now. You don't have to ever go to your trailer. You live on the set. And it makes things faster, easier, more pleasant, and fun to do.
Yeah.
And I love LEDs. Thank God for LEDs.
I have got a friend who is named Tim Micklesary, who played the door gunner in Full Metal Jacket. He's got a show down in San Diego, which I actually have to get to. And so I'm going to wrap this up, Eric. I can't thank you enough. You're a brilliant actor. I've always thought you were a brilliant actor. You're an actor's actor, and I can't thank you enough for taking the time and spending a couple hours of your time coming here and talking to me. And you're just the best. You're absolutely
Thank you.
the
What
best.
a pleasure. All those kind words.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Thank you.
And tell me who might you let into your strange pecan shell? Which hand would